So what's the latest regarding the Spurs and De'Aaron Fox trade rumors? And then let's talk about some merch of the month.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, that's a Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. Thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube. Locked On Spurs newsletters in the link. Well, the description below has the link for it. Go sign up for that right now. We would appreciate it. By the way, it's completely free. And welcome back. See here at Locked On Spurs. We had a roundtable discussion regarding De'Aaron Fox. We had a fan come on yesterday regarding the state of the team from the fan perspective. But we got to go back to the Fox Spurs rumors. If you've been living under a rock, let's catch you up. The Sacramento Kings are open for business. According to Shams Charania, that they are willing to start taking offers for De'Aaron Fox. But it's not just the Spurs. It's several teams. Although Charania is reporting that the Spurs are the preferred destination for Fox if he gets dealt. So what is the latest? What would it cost? What are folks in Sacramento asking for? Believe it or not, nothing's going to be good enough for them. And I get it, but you hear what a radio station had to say in Sacramento about the asking price. But what is a fair asking price? Also, what about this whole waiting for his contract to expire? Is that a prudent move the Spurs should make? And what are the threats to the Spurs and the chase for spots? And oh, by the way, we got merch of the month. I think you're gonna love it. I think if you've been watching already, I've been kind of teasing it. If you've been following me on social media, you've been seeing it. I gave a little clue. I think you're going to like what we got in store for you guys in just a few minutes. I'll likely have to do a costume change because I can't let our guests see exactly what the new merch of the month is. Although by the time this airs, he already knows. Let's go ahead and bring him on. He is Mike Jimenez. Welcome back, buddy. How you been?
Doing amazing, man. Excited about all these rumors involving De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, let me scoot over here, man. I'm off center here. But yeah, it's a wild time, man. Here's the thing. It's been a long time since the Spurs have been in the middle of a rumor regarding a power player in the league. We were talking about this yesterday, a couple of days ago, about the Spurs. What was the last major deal the Spurs had with major players?
Right.
All the way back to the Sean Elliott, Dennis Rodman deal. I think that was the last time you had a major trade. Because before that, it was Terry Cummings, Bucks, and Spurs. It hasn't been nothing to an all-star level. They're seeing possibly right now, Jimenez.
Well, I mean, we had it in free agency with LaMarcus Aldridge, but as far as a trade is concerned, bringing in a star, we've been the victim of certain trades. When we were forced to deal Kawhi Leonard, who was a first-team All-NBA player for DeMar DeRozan and Jakob Poeltl, that was a deal back in the day. But for us to be in the driver's seat is something that we're not familiar with. And it's exciting because there's some underlying things going on here that a lot of Spurs fans are unaware of that might make it better for the Spurs and put the Spurs in the driver's seat.
Again, he is Mike Jimenez. Follow him on X at MJ Acquired Taste. He is part of the Area 210 podcast on YouTube. We'll be talking about that in just a few minutes. All right, so Jimenez, let's dive right into it. The asking price. That has been a big topic of discussion since this Fox Spurs rumor spoke up again. Keep this in mind, everybody. This is not the first time we've heard Fox and the Spurs linked. Back in December, The Athletic reported the same thing. So not totally new, but now it's getting more and more concrete. It looks like something might happen. The thing here, Jimenez, is Sacramento, they're going to want a lot for him. Look, they run the risk of losing him for nothing if they just wait it out and maybe, he decides to re-sign with them. They could strike while the iron is hot, and right now he is hot. They're going to probably want a haul. Now, for those of y'all who saw ESPN Sacramento Radio, their hosts were discussing the asking price, and they looked at the Spurs roster. So they threw out names like Vassell and Sochan and Castle. They also talked about the massive amount of picks the Spurs have. But let's go to them. That's not going to be enough. Why? Because they don't foresee an all-star coming out of San Antonio if Castle or Vassell or Sochan is dealt to them. And the picks is not even good enough, which begs the question, what is good enough for this guy, Fox, who reportedly wants to come to San Antonio? Now, look, every deal, you're not going to get pennies. You're going to get dollar for dollar. That's not going to happen. It didn't happen with Kawhi Leonard. It's probably not going to happen with Sacramento. But they're going to try. Jimenez, what is fair? What do you think is a fair deal?
Well, it depends on what other competition's there, right? So there's reports out there that maybe the Houston Rockets could be in play, the Denver Nuggets, the Miami Heat, Phoenix Suns, teams like that. So if there is a lot of competition for De'Aaron Fox, then the asking price gets higher. But you're right, it'll never reach 100 cents of the dollar. Okay, but is it going to take 80 cents of the dollar, 60 cents of the dollar? What is it going to take? For me, as a Spurs fan and wannabe Spurs GM, I would say look at our roster. Just not Wemby, but take any three players. I don't care which ones. Okay. Just take the next three. That's perfectly fine with me.
And the thing is, not a deal breaker for you, right? He's not a deal breaker.
It's not a deal breaker. Stephon Castle, as much as it would break my heart, not a deal breaker. Jeremy Sochan, not a deal breaker. Devin Vassell, not a deal breaker. I mean, in a perfect world, because this potentially is a 14-month rental, potentially, you would want it to be something in the range of Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, and picks, and say please, 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 and maybe take maybe if you want to have Zach Collins or whatever the case may be. That's in a perfect world. But if they turn around and say, no, we want one of your young guys, we want Sochan, we want Stephon Castle, you kind of have to do it anyway. You kind of have to do it anyway, because as much as I love Stephon Castle, and he's my favorite player on this team, and I do believe he'll be Rookie of the Year when it's all said and done, the fact of the matter is that we have no assurances that Stephon Castle will ever develop to be the player that De'Aaron Fox is right now. De'Aaron Fox averaging 25.2 points per game. De'Aaron Fox, he's a one-time All-Star, but I tell you this much, if De'Aaron Fox played on a big media market in New York, Chicago, Miami, he'd be considered a star. But he plays in Sacramento for 8 seasons, and because of that, people don't know how good that he is. Stephon Castle, if we have to get rid of him, I wouldn't want to. I would prefer to keep him, but it's not a deal breaker when it's all said and done, and it depends on who has more leverage when it comes to things. Did you know that last year De'Aaron Fox led the league in steals?
Yeah, I knew that. Yep.
So he's not just an offensive threat. He's not just a guy that gets 25 points per game, 6 rebounds or 6 assists and 5 rebounds. Career highs, by the way, when it comes to rebounds this year. He's also somebody who, likes to pick pockets and things like that. So it's a very, very good player. And beyond all that, another thing to put San Antonio in the driver's seat, where's De'Aaron Fox's wife from? San Antonio. And ain't nobody happy unless mama's happy.
Yeah.
And that might be something. She comes home, and that's an underlying thing that we have in our back pocket that other teams don't have.
Yeah, and you look at it too, as far as the asking price. I think Spurs fans should brace for a steep price already. But where I draw the line, Jimenez, is if we go your route, pick player Sacramento, and if that does involve Castle. But I draw the line at, all right, but that's it. You ain't getting unprotected first-round picks, second-round picks, multiple first-round picks. I would stop there. You're getting 3 solid young players, and with the chance of Castle becoming, maybe, one of your cornerstone pieces you build around Sacramento. But as ESPN Sharania also reported that Sacramento wants everything right now. Not only do they want young talent, they want to win now. They want win now players. Win now players, I don't see that with Sochan, Vassell, or even Castle, at least not yet for him. He's just a rookie. Give him time. So you think that might throw a wrench at things?
Well, the win now players would be Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell. I mean, because they're experienced players and they have 4 or 5 years under their belt, and I would trade that in a heartbeat for 2 reasons. 2 reasons is because if you look at the Spurs salary cap situation for the upcoming years, we have Devin Vassell till 2029, for crying out loud. And he's going to be making $29 million a year this year. It's going to lower down to 27, but he's still on there for till 29. You have Keldon Johnson on the roster till 27. So if you clear out that space right there, again, those are win now kind of guys because they're experienced players. If you clear those two guys out, not only are you getting rid of 2 players and getting De'Aaron Fox coming on in, but you're getting rid of the back end of their contracts, and the Spurs could really reload for good in the 2026-2027 season. So you look at the Spurs roster right now, 26-27 season, Spurs have only Vassell, Keldon, Wemby, Castle, and Champagnie on the team. You get rid of 2 of those guys that insert a De'Aaron Fox, the team is not only better, but it's positioned in a place where they can actually go get a third banana on top of it all. You have the top 2 players. You have the Batman and the Robin. You go get the third player along the way. So it helps when it comes to cap space when it comes to things. Also, keep in mind, the Spurs have the 2031 first-round draft pick swap with the Sacramento Kings. So when they say that they want to have picks, one of the picks could be, Sacramento, here's your pick back.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're good. Jimenez, are you bracing for any report that had a steep asking price? I think you could probably expect that, right? I'm expecting it. If it does come to the table and it does get leaked out, I'm bracing for Sacramento. You want all that, and I bring that up is because what did the Knicks have to give up? Was it for Bridges? It was
for Michael Bridges. Yeah,
it was ridiculous. So if that's the bar, I'm expecting something similar to that, or if not maybe exceeding at least the initial asking price for D. Fox. Hey, Jimenez, hold that thought. When we get back, let's continue that chat about the asking price, the threats to the Spurs for Fox, and something that Jimenez brought up on his show regarding the timeliness when it comes to bidding for him, that be Fox, being a free agent. He is Mike Jimenez. Follow him on X at MJ Acquired Taste. Yes, first we got to talk about TurboTax.
This is a message from sponsor Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was waiting and wondering and worrying if you're going to get any money back. And then waiting, wondering, and worrying some more. Now Taxes is matching with an TurboTax expert who can do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return while you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on your day. An expert who will find you every deduction possible, file every form, every investment, and everything with 100% accuracy. Or you can get that money back, the most money back, guaranteed. No waiting, no wondering, no worries. Now this is Taxes. Get an expert now at TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live full service, real-time updates only in iOS mobile app. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
What's up, guys? This is KG Tang, voice of Sanami Shinizugawa and Demon Slayer, and you're watching Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Mike Jimenez of Area 210 Podcast on YouTube. Follow Jimenez on X at MJ Acquired Taste. And we're talking about De'Aaron Fox Spurs rumors popping up. All right, so if the Bridges deal was steep, can you imagine what the Kings might command for Fox initially, Jimenez?
Well, initially, but the command is over in 7 days. Yeah. The trade deadline is next Thursday. And the fact of the matter is that the Kings have absolutely no leverage in this whole situation.
Well, they have no leverage because here's a guy who wants out of there. They reportedly wants out. And that's their leverage out.
Yeah, it's already been released, right? And it's Clutch Sports for crying out loud, right?
Yeah,
so
there's that, yeah.
That they represent. So now you have the playmakers there making the move when it comes to things.
Yeah,
Sacramento has no leverage when it comes to this because if they hold on to him past the deadline, next season the asking price actually gets lower. It gets lowered because he's a 1-year rental at that point, no matter where he goes. At least in this respect, you can say, well, you have him for the full year and you have him for the stretch runs, try to make the play-in tournament or whatever the case may be. Keep in mind, the Spurs right now are at the number 12 spot in the West. They need a leapfrog over 2 teams. Well, if De'Aaron Fox is with Sacramento, Sacramento would theoretically fall down. Spurs will leapfrog over them, and the Spurs could make a serious run towards a a play-in spot bid. It's interesting how this is all, the dynamics involved in all this, but I don't think Sacramento has any leverage at all. They gain a little bit of leverage the more teams that get interested in it. ESPN was reporting today that there were like more than a dozen calls made to the Sacramento organization about it. But you don't know how many teams those dozen calls were, right? It could be four teams calling 3 times, for crying out loud. But if he wants to go to San Antonio and Rich Paul is the agent, guess where he's going to go? He's going to go to San Antonio.
San Antonio, yep.
Spurs, we never had this type of thing going on, right? We've never had
never
a guy who's a 25, 5-5 guy who wants to come to San Antonio, who has an agent who wants him to go to San Antonio, who has a team that's losing leverage, who has a spouse that's from San Antonio, and also this particular player is from Katy, Texas, which is a 2.5-hour drive away.
Yeah.
This is a perfect storm. And I'm sorry to all the Spurs fans out there who are like, oh, this is too much to give up. I don't want to give up all these 3 or 4 players. It is an all-star league. You need to have all-stars to win in the NBA. The Spurs only have one. I don't care how much you like Sochan. He's never going to be an all-star. Maybe Castle will one day. Keldon will never be an all-star. Devin Vassell will never be an all-star. We need all-stars, and we don't say no to this guy. And again, if this guy played on a big market team, he'd be a bigger star than he is right now. This guy is a top 20 player in the NBA. He is. But the fact of the matter is that he doesn't get that respect because it says Sacramento Kings on his jersey. If it said Miami Heat or Chicago Bulls or New York Knicks, he'd get a lot more respect than what he gets.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, at the Spurs, and sure, they got plenty of picks. There's no question. We all know that. Everybody knows that. They got good players, not great players, but serviceable players. Like, no knock on Keldon or Devin. I bring this up because threats to the Spurs. Reportedly, again, the Spurs are not the only team chasing Fox. And some of the team names that have been thrown out there have been the Rockets, have been the Magic. I believe the Lakers have been mentioned. You know, the list goes on and on. That is where I hit the brakes a little bit, Jimenez, is if the report is true that Sacramento not only wants picks, but win now players, if that's the combo they want, Spurs don't have that. Houston has that. Orlando has that. That could throw a wrench in things. Jimenez, your thoughts?
Not really. You only have a certain amount of money to spend.
Yeah.
And it is true that Houston has the players. I mean, Şengün, Amen Thompson, Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet. You know, they've got a lot of very good young players, Jabari Smith Jr., a lot of good players out there. But the fact of the matter is that they're playing VanVleet a fortune. They're playing Jalen Green. They're going to Amen Thompson, when his contract is going to come up. He showed himself to be a future star in this league. It's too many contracts to feed at one time there in Houston. They have the talent, but they don't have the flexibility to necessarily re-sign him at a $45-50 million price point that he's going to command. You know, you're going to take a look at De'Aaron Fox. He's already declined that type of contract with Sacramento. But again, playing in Texas, at least for the home games in Texas, guess what? No state income tax when it comes to playing for the Spurs or when you play against the Rockets or the Mavericks when you go on the road. So that being said, I think the Spurs are on a pretty good position here. Houston has more talent has more talent, but again, who's steering the ship? Who's steering the ship? Who's leading the dance? Is it Rich Paul?
Fox right now. Well, Fox and Paul, right? Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it Fox and Paul, or is it Sacramento leading the dance?
Yeah.
And that's the thing about it. So yeah, Houston has the better players, but we have the better cap situation long term.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, if we're going to lead this to our one of our final points here. If Sacramento wants to make a move, it has to be done now because they run the risk of him walking for nothing. Now, Fox will be a free agent, I think, in a couple of off seasons. So there's that. And the Spurs run the risk, too, of Sacramento making moves if he doesn't get dealed in a couple of days to make an improvement to the roster, you know, convince Fox to make an extension with the team. You know, remind him that hey, by the way, we're the only team that can give you I think they call it a super veteran contract extension if he stays and that drafted you. So there's that. So they can still try to convince him, and that's why I think the Spurs should try to strike now before more wrenches get thrown in. You know, what if Houston caves? I don't think Houston caves. I think they like their team. They're one of the best teams in the West. They're beating some of the top dogs in the NBA. Do the Lakers make a move? I don't know. What do they give up? Do they have the talent that the Lakers would want? What about Orlando? Orlando does, but I'm not too familiar with their drafts, capital situation. So the Spurs seemingly are in the driver's seat, but a lot of Spurs fans are saying, well, Sacramento, you want everything pie in the sky. You want the gold bars, the treasure at the end of the rainbow from the Spurs. They ain't going to happen. We're going to wait until he's a free agent. But you brought up a good point on your show. You said, okay, fine, but that doesn't make sense because there's a chance of something colliding at the same time, that being Wemby's contract. What do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean by that is, Wemby is on a 4-year deal, right? So think about it. I hate the fact that the idea of the Spurs just rolling the ball out there again with this roster, Wemby's third year. So we're going to waste Wemby's third year because we don't get him a star. That makes absolutely no sense to me. But you look at it, you've got to know what the long-term plan is for this team. And you need to have projections down the road. And the Spurs have done a very good job of clearing out space where they can get out in 26, where they can get out in 27. They've done a very good job of clearing out potential cap space. So the Spurs need to know, is he coming over to San Antonio? They need to know if he's going to stay in San Antonio so that they can adjust, right? Because they can address him in 2026. They can address Wemby in 2027, and Wemby's going to get that supermax deal, right? He's going to be $75 million or whatever the case may be. Spurs will go into the luxury tax and all that because you got to do that to keep a superstar that way.
Yep.
But you have to align everything. You can't just go year by year by year. You need to have a 2 or 3 or 4 year plan. And what the Spurs have is they have certain players falling off. If you look at next season, Zach Collins' contract goes off at the end of the 26th year. This year we have Trey Jones falling off. This year we have Chris Paul falling off. So the Spurs are setting themselves to reload. And you and I talked about this off air where you were like, well, man, Michael, you look at it, the Spurs would only have maybe 4 or 5 players on the roster at that point. The Spurs might have only Wemby, Fox, Champagnie, and maybe Castle on the team. And then the rest of the rest of everybody else would just be new. But I would say that that's not a bad deal because if you have 3 or 4 solid pieces there, cornerstone pieces, then it becomes a big, big, big deal. Everybody else is replaceable, man. Keldon's replaceable, Vassell's replaceable, Branham, Wesley, City, all of them, all replaceable players, man. They're just guys, dude. They're average players, and that's why Spurs fans are offended when they hear ESPN 1310 and Sacramento come out and say they don't want our guys. Well, guess what? From the outside looking in, our guys are just dudes, man. They're just guys. Go get the All-Star. That's
yeah.
You need to line him up with somebody. You need to line Wemby up with an All-Star. See if it works. And they've had their eye on Fox for a long time.
Yeah. And Spurs fans, to a certain degree, they could probably empathize with the Kings fan base right now because Spurs went through this with Kawhi Leonard.
Yep.
Yeah, he went out, he wanted out. What were all Spurs fans saying? Well, okay, we need a haul back. We need a big return back. So yeah, that's just the nature of the beast. That is their guy in Sacramento. That is their franchise. They grew up. They see him grew up since they drafted him. So you can get why they would push those Spurs stock. And okay, draft picks are great, but yeah, what else you got? We want all-stars. Spurs don't have all-stars. I don't know if these guys are going to turn into all-stars. And yay, picks ain't enough. But, Sacramento's going to be where San Antonio was a few years ago with Kawhi. They got to feel the best deal. And just because the Spurs are in the driver's seat, that's great. That pushes the needle towards San Antonio. But there's a chance that other team out there could just pop up and surprise everybody and be like, okay, yeah, we can give you X, Y, and Z. I throw out there Utah. Utah with marketing, I don't know they'll deal with marketing, but you got Colin Sexton, you got good quality Kessler, and they have a good chunk of draft picks as well. And you got Danny Ainge there as well, and he's considered one of the better GMs. They're not toughest to deal with, but nevertheless he gets deals done. So a surprise team could pop up again. Goes back to the point. Maybe the Spurs should just go ahead and try to strike while the iron is. Yes, Fox and clutch. They're in the driver's seat. They're going to be the ones steering everything, as you said, Jimenez, towards San Antonio. But he's technically under contract, and the Kings are going to do what's right for the Kings. And if a better deal comes along, then, yeah, it happens. But Jimenez, you go ahead.
I was going to say, Spurs fans are enamored by first-round draft picks. At some point, you accumulate the chips to go all in at some point. And who are you going to go all in for? Yeah. And, over the last 10 years, here are some first-rounders the Spurs have drafted. Malachi Branham, Blake Wesley, Josh Primo, Luka Samanic, Lonnie Walker, Nikola Milutinov, Kyle Anderson, Livio Jean-Charles, Corey Joseph, James Anderson. These are all first-rounders the last 15 years the Spurs have drafted. Okay? Mm-hmm. Just because you have first-round draft picks doesn't mean that it's going to turn out to be a star. Really, in order to get a star, you need to have a pick in the top 10. That's where most of the stars get picked. And, of course, there's a Giannis and a Kawhi that was picked at 15 and a Joker that was picked in the second round. That happens, but that's more an anomaly than anything else. The Spurs, this is an all-star guy. This is a 25-point per game kind of guy who wants to play for the Spurs, whose agent wants him here. Like, this doesn't happen. And for us to sit here and go, Sochan's a deal breaker, Stephon Castle's a deal breaker. What are you talking about? For those who come up to me on Spurs Twitter and go, you don't know ball? If you're saying that, guess what? You don't know ball, right? Because it's just one of those things. Like, what are you talking about? It takes all-stars to win championships.
Yeah.
Tim, it wasn't just Tim. It was Tim, Tony, and Manu. 3 all-stars got those chips.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because let's just, pretend that Brian Wright Spurs, they do make a deal and Fox is on with them. But the Spurs are still not out of it yet. Not out of it. They have a very good pair of pieces with Fox and Wemby. And, if Castle's not part of a deal, then maybe he turns into that third missing piece. But if is part of it, then the rebuild continues. Fox is a good addition, but I don't think Fox pushes the needle to Western Conference Finals. Here we come. I don't think we're at that level, are we?
Yes, we are.
We're at that level, even though the team. Okay, go ahead.
It all depends on the pieces. If it is Keldon and Devin Vassell, the answer is yes. We're at a 48-50, 52-win type of team. Because if you were able to somehow keep Castle and somehow keep Sochan and just get rid of 2 win-now guys, Keldon and Devin, right? Send those out, give them their 2031 pick and give them 2 other picks, right? If you're to somehow do that, Sochan can thrive knowing that he doesn't have to do everything. He can just focus on what he does best, and he can stay away from the three-point line for good. Then you have bringing up the ball. Imagine De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle bringing up the ball together. How incredible that would be. Then you have Barnes doing his thing, Wemby getting better year after year after year after year. That is a very special team that could potentially happen. In a perfect world, we keep Sochan. In a perfect world, we keep Castle. But the fact of the matter is that at the end of the day, it takes all-stars to win in this league. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be something that should be disregarded. Getting rid of certain players that are fan favorites. Fact of the matter is that De'Aaron Fox would be a fan favorite on day one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's a fan favorite right now. Not even wearing a Spurs uniform. He's a fan favorite right now. He is Mike Jimenez with Area 210 Podcast. Follow him on X at MJ Acquired Taste. Jimenez, before we let you go here, tell us what's going on the YouTube side of things for you and Joe Garcia.
Yeah, now 2,200 subscribers strong, man.
Hey.
It's Monday through Friday. We do a show from 10 to 11:30 when local sports talk radio goes dark. I mean, they play national programming. You can come to us to talk about local sports. You're typically on Wednesdays with our show. Joe Garcia does a fantastic job producing. And, we talk a lot of sports, a lot of Spurs, a lot of Cowboys, a lot of NBA, NFL, college football, stuff like that. And it's a fun show. We do a lot of pop culture references from time to time. And it's from 10 to 11:30 on YouTube.
There you have it. Go check out Jimenez's and Joe's show right now. Area 210 Podcast. Go check it out. It's a fun show. It's a great show. A lot of fun interaction. Let Jimenez know your thoughts on his show and more in his tapes, as well on this episode of Locked On Spurs at MJ Acquired Taste. Jimenez, we thank you as always for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us here on Lowe's we're not done yet. Coming up next is merch of the month. I got to do a costume change. Okay, I couldn't let Jimenez see what the new merch of the month is because I don't know when this episode's going to drop, and maybe I let the cat out of the bag too soon. So I'm going to change, put on the new gear. You're going to love it. Let's just say you're going to be craving it soon. I'll leave it at that there. All right, so we got merch of the month coming up. But first, let's talk about Game Time.
Attending NFL playoff games is an unforgettable experience that brings fans together. I remember going to my first NFL game from the tailgating, the fan experience, to eating the good food that was there. Going to NFL games is fun. And now with the NFL playoffs here, well, you can connect with other fans. Hey, I'm pretty sure you got a lot of good memories going to an NFL game. And Game Time. That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. It filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Look, just pick an upcoming game, Super Bowl coming around the corner. Game Time will be there for you. I recently used Game Time Picks to find tickets, not just for an NFL game, but also for NBA games. Surprisingly, the deals were simple. I found great values for all kinds of seats around the venue. The super deal was especially impressive, offering the best value for the event. The app features, like seat views before you buy, all-in prices, no surprise fees at checkout, makes the experience smooth and reliable. Plus, the on-time ticket delivery and lowest price guarantee gave me peace of mind. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNB for $10 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create that account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Josh Del Cruz with Blues Clues and you're listening to Locked On Spurs. Jeff Garcia.
All right, it is time for merch of the month. The Spurs Whataburger. It's like a marriage made in Texas heaven. They've come together to create a new line of clothing, a new collab featuring the two iconic San Antonio brands. And here's one example right now. Yeah, this is merch of the month. And today we're highlighting the collaboration between the Spurs and Whataburger. It is time to celebrate the two brands. It's time to celebrate the Spurs return from Paris. What better way to do it than the Spurs finally announcing? It just feels like something that should have been done years and years ago. But finally it's here. The wait is over. Whataburger Spurs coming together for a new line of clothing. You can get, starting tomorrow at the Frostbank Center. More on that later. It'll also be online. I'll give you all the details right now, but here you go. This is what it looks like, everybody. So let's start it off, right? Let's start off with what I'm wearing. So this is basically your hoodie, your basic hoodie, and it features the Spurs logo, which you can see is about right there. And it has obviously the iconic Whataburger color scheme, the stripes and everything. Let me see if I could take off the banners here. All right, there you go. That's a little better right there. But yeah, we can see the iconic branding, the script, the font here. It says Whataburger, Spurs, the collaboration right here. Got the Texas going on right here. It says, just like you like it. Yes, we like seeing the Spurs and the Whataburger brands come together. So this is the hoodie that will be available starting tomorrow online and at the Frostbank Center, and as well as Victory Capital Performance Center, Spurs Fan Shop, and of course, obviously, the Frostbank Center main fan shop that everybody goes to there. So just a quick heads up, this is a very thick cotton, very thick fabric, I should say. So heads up with that. It's going to keep you really, really warm, all right? I am wearing a large, all right? This is what a large looks like. Now, it's a little snug, but it does fit great. Oh wait, it's very comfortable. I'm not itchy, I'm not scratchy, nothing. But this is very scoot back a little bit for you guys there. That's what it looks like. This is the hoodie, which you can get right now. So before I start showing you some of the other products in the new collaboration, you're gonna have, I got it right here for you. It's gonna come with 3 t-shirts, obviously with the cross branding, all right? 1 hoodie that you see me wear right now. I'm going to take down the strings here. And 1 hat, which I'll show you in a few minutes. Again, this is the co-branded elements between the Spurs and Whataburger. As mentioned, it is set down to celebrate the two brands come together, but also the Spurs return from Paris. Again, I couldn't think of a better way to do it than obviously announcing something that many fans have been wanting for quite some time, and it's finally here. So let's look at the merch. All right, so I got it right here. You're going to love this one. This is, by the way, if you're following me on social media, I teased a little picture of this. I did see one person guess right that it was Whataburger, and I had my best to try not to react to that. So this is one of the t-shirts, one of the 3 t-shirts you're going to be able to get. As you can see, I love this. It's basically the ketchup ingredients tab that Whataburger gives out on their ketchup packets there. And what I like about it, the ingredients are the Spurs and Whataburger. See? The ingredients include 5 championships, 2 shots. Get it? 2. I don't know about 2 shots, like those kind of shots. They meant 2 shots at the free throw line, everybody. You got a Wemby 3 or Wemby 3, La Cultura, the Coyote, the Rock, SPURS. The Coyote jumps up and down to spell Spurs. Netwake 210, get it? 210 area code. And of course, there's manufactured by Whataburger, San Antonio, Texas. This is one of my favorite ones. And again, what I'm holding here is a large. There you go right there. Get a good look at that. It's awesome. Again, very nice fabric, very thin. It's not a thick fabric, so keep that in mind. But again, will be available immediately tomorrow. Again, I'll tell you about how you can get your hands on it and why you should be going to the Fox Center tomorrow early. Give me a little hint there. All right, let's continue our look at the merch of the month featuring the Spurs and Whataburger collab. Check this out. You got a cap here featuring the Spurs logo and the iconic Whataburger orange and white. Now, it's kind of hard to see on camera. I'll do my best to get you a good look at that right there. Gotta get my hand out of the way there for you. But check that out. You see, it has the stripes within the Spurs logo. The black. By the way, it's a very dark black. Very midnight black. Just a heads up on that. And I like it. But give a little side view there. You can see it's breathable. It's a one size fits all. I'll show you the back. One size fits all. And what I like about it is the lid. Check this out. You got the Whataburger lid there. It's like you're getting to order your French fries, but you put it on your head there. Seriously, it looks like the French fry box. That's what it looks like. But yeah, it is such a cool item here. That is awesome. Again, this will be available starting tomorrow online and at Spurs fan shops. I'll tell you about that in just a few seconds here. So there you have it. Now, you want a little bit more look at some of the line of the products. Let's check them out right now. All right, so I showed you a few pieces already, but here's just a clearer look at them if you want them. Let me show you the hat real fast. There's the hat that I just showed you right there. Again, that'll be available starting tomorrow. There is the hoodie that I showed you a little while ago. That was pretty cool, right? By the way, I'm keeping this. Sorry, everybody. This is my sweater. I'm keeping this one. No giveaway here. All right. Now, check this out. So I showed you one of the t-shirts already, with the ingredients. These are the other 2 t-shirts that will be available. This one's pretty cool. So basically, it's just the hoodie, just in t-shirt form. All right. Again, it looks like the same fabric used in the one I showed you, very thin. Again, it's just basically the hoodie logo on a t-shirt. You got a dark gray there. I think you'll like it here. Now, the next t-shirt, I really think this is going to be a hit. I really believe so. It's like a throwback to the old Whataburger days. You remember that where they had like almost like a upside down triangle shape to it? Check this out. To the restaurants, check this out. Boom. Look at that t-shirt. That one is cool. I think that's going to be the winner right there among Spurs fans. You got the iconic look back in the 50s of Whataburger restaurants, with the drive up there, the triangle look to the restaurants there. You got that old throwback pickup truck there. Got the basketball next to the wheels there. It is awesome. Now, you're wondering what the front looks like. Just, you see the Whataburger script. It's just that on the upper chest. That's all. up. So, it's very small. I think it's on the left side. So that's really not much to show in the front. But there you have it. I really think this is going to be the big hit here. That is just awesome. So I'll go through them again while I read you some information. So again, there's the gray t-shirt. I've been mentioning that you got to go to the Frost Bank Center for the Spurs-Bucks game this Friday here at home. So you want to get there a little earlier, right? Why? Well, because the gear will be available to the public for the first time at the main Spurs fan shop. And I'm pretty sure you might find sprinkles scattered throughout the kiosk in the arena. But mainly, you definitely want to go to the main Spurs fan shop on the first floor, the concourse level. All right, why? Because the first 200 fans to purchase any item from the collection at the Frost Bank Center Spurs fan shop, that's very key, beginning this Friday, January 31, against the Bucks, you buy any item, guess what you're getting? You're getting free food, everybody. Yes, you'll get a free coupon, or you'll just get a coupon, I should say, for a free Whataburger honey butter biscuit, chicken biscuit, I should say, with the purchase. So again, you're one of the first 200 fans to purchase an item from this new collection here. I'll show you the hoodie again. I'll show you the cap. You get one of those. That's it. Get one of those. You'll get a coupon for one free Whataburger honey butter chicken biscuit with that purchase. And by the way, that coupon can be used at the Whataburger locations outside the arena as well. So inside and outside. So you got to get if you go to Whataburger and get yourself the gear right now. So again, the design elements you saw for yourself, it just pretty much smashes up, the two brands together. Get the Spurs logo, the iconic Whataburger orange and white. You got the key ingredients, basically you see on the ketchup packets on one of the t-shirts. You got the 5 NBA titles for the Spurs. You got it all. You got it all. You got the 2 shots that they say at the free throw line on one of the t-shirts there. Each piece in this Spurs Whataburger collection embraces the Texas root, and that's what they're going for, okay? It celebrates the partnership that they've had between the Spurs and Whataburger for years, for decades. I mean, seriously, it's been to partner with the Spurs for a long time. Basically, it's giving you a chance to rep your San Antonio pride there. You can't get more San Antonio than Whataburger and the Spurs smashed together in a new line of gear. Yeah, but by the way, I love this sweater here. It is awesome. Okay, so what about that stuff I just showed you, right? Well, for sure, I'm going to be looking at the cap. Now, for some of y'all who know where I sit on media row at Spurs games, so I'm going to be taking that cap with me for that next Spurs-Bucks game, okay? And the first person to find me will get it. They'll get a free cap. I'll put it on the screen here again. I got one of those I showed you. I'll give it away to the first person who finds me at the Spurs-Bucks home game this Friday. If y'all know where I sit on media row, so there's your little hint there. But if you see me walking around, maybe just getting something to drink, maybe stretching my legs, you happen to see me, go, hey, I know you. It's Jeff. Whataburger, Spurs collab. Where's my cap? So do that right now, but I'll show it to you again to prove that I got it with me. There it is. Now the key is I got to remember to bring it with me so I can't forget. So hopefully I don't goof up and forget to bring it with me. But, barring that, I will have this on me and I'll give it away the first person who finds me at the Frost Bank Center. So yeah. So think about that. You're one of the first 200 people there. You get in line, you buy yourself one item. You get not only your free honey chicken biscuit complimentary of Whataburger, and if you find me, you're making out like a bandit. That food there, a little sandwich there. Get yourself one of the new items, and you might get a free one if you find me. There it is. See? There it is. Spurs Merch of the Month. I tell you, this is one of my favorite segments each month that we do here in Locked On Spurs. So there you have it. So some of the details will be available starting tomorrow, January 31. Again, at the Spurs fan shops, at the Frost Bank Center, at the Victory Capital fan shop, and of course, we're basically y'all know that's at the Rock at La Cantera, just for those who don't know. Or if you can't get to those locations, you just go to spursfanshop.com or shopwhataburger.com. So one more time, first available tomorrow, Spurs home game versus the Bucks. First 200 people in line purchase an item. This up a free coupon for a Whataburger honey biscuit chicken meal sandwich there, right? So there's that. And if you can't get there, you can obviously go to the Victory Capital Performance Center, basically at the Rock at La Cantera, that fan shop there. But if you can't get to those two locations, again, one more time, spursfanshop.com. And then there's also shopwhataburger.com. You'll be able to get the collection there. It will be available starting tomorrow. I've been itching to tell y'all guys about this. Really have been. True story. It was supposed to be released earlier this week. It didn't, got delayed. But hey, better late than never, right? And what way to start your weekend right than getting yourself one of these, putting it on at the game, and rocking it as the Spurs take on the Bucks. Hopefully they get that W as well. See what I did? W, Whataburger, Spurs win. It all makes sense. Again, it's a marriage made in Texas heaven. Again, the line will be available tomorrow. Yeah, so go get it right now. And that's your new Spurs merch of the month right here on Locked On Spurs. Got to get it, man. I'm really liking this sweater here. This was my favorite. My favorite one so far of this line collection. Although that T-shirt with the old restaurant and the old truck there, that was a close second. I might need to get myself that one ASAP. But there you have it, the Spurs merch of the month. And thanks for y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, KenSpy, Plus app. You know where to go. Subscribe to the Locked On Spurs newsletter. It's in the description below on YouTube. Just click that link there. It says LO Spurs newsletter. Click on that. It's completely free. Sign up today. We'll be back tomorrow to wrap up the week right here on Locked On Spurs, talking all things silver and black. And maybe I'll see you around wearing the Whataburger Spurs gear soon. Hopefully I get to see that as well. But for my guest I had earlier, Mike Jimenez, I am Jeff Garcia. This is the Spurs Whataburger collab. And we're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On